9-5 now in favor of Sentinels. We get into our first buy round here for Vikings. Super curious what we'll see. They're definitely a team that have a lot in their playbook.
I want that knife so badly, Dan. Just like something about dual wielding a knife in this game seems so cool, but I don't know how disruptive it could be on the screen. But yeah, definitely. So at this point, though, a gun round coming in for Vikings. You have a 4-round cushion for Sentinels. I'm definitely okay with them keeping the Spectre so far. The res is already ready for Dapper, and Zoms is one away from a Viper's Pit. So if they get a kill and put a Viper's Pit somewhere to deny on a post plant, very difficult here for Vikings to play the retake.
And Shazam's actually going to take down Sassy early on here towards the A side. And with all this pressure towards B as well, Sentinels could reset in the mid round here, which it looks like they might be considering. Just cut the noise and force Vikings to play 2 to a site or play info somewhere. And it looks like actually Sentinels are just going to hold. And so again, you know, if you wait long enough, it's likely that the defenders are thinking to themselves, well, they could have rotated back, so we're going to have to rotate some players off. And you can see on the minimap, that's exactly what's happening. Just by waiting, Sentinels have made their attack on B stronger.
Yeah, and Sutakas is going to be on his own now inside this B site. He's going to have to be on point with potentially a quadruple swing onto this B site. This wall is going to come up. Should be an easier plant now that they have the wall to come up at the same time as well. And there you go. So Sentinels are going to come in for a plant. You're going to have to play a retake once again for Vikings with a man disadvantage, but also Sassy dying early means they have no recon for the retake inside this Viper's Pit.
There's so much utility all over the place. It's so confusing to see exactly if you were in that smoke where players are going to be coming from. But looks like there's a good sense of it here for Sentinels, especially for Zoms as he lurks around inside that Viper's Pit looking for any oncoming assailants.
No way.
Goodness, GTN knows those angles. Takes down TenZ from a distance, and with that, maybe there's a chance here. But time is an issue. They've got to move, and it looks like the movement will be to retreat and to hold on to these weapons. Makes a lot of sense. Very close one.
It looked pretty good, though. I'm not going to lie. I'd love to see the replay from GTN's POV. Like, we saw that third kill on the top through the Viper's Pit on top of green. But the first two, I'm thinking that it's also some random sprays through the smoke for those kills. And that is actually pretty good to hurt the economy of Sentinels, who continue to be like pretty much on the run so far in the second half. And there you go. Look at that. That was pretty sick.
Wow. All right.
And that's the 2-bullet dance. The 2-bullet dance. And he lands those shots. So they're practicing this so far, despite having a composition that, you know, we said it, no Viper, no Sage, blah, 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 blah. It's like, hey, we're comfortable with our composition. We know how to play this. And they're playing it almost to perfection, where it's been a very difficult half for Sentinels on the defender side. But the attacker side so far has been a whole different story here, Dan.
Yeah, it really has. And Sentinels will kick this round off with just defaulting out pressure towards A and B long control. Very scary playing against TenZ. I'm very sure that that's quite an intimidating prospect. Team there with a Vandal just ADSing away, looking for the taps. Got to be very careful about giving up kills to TenZ in this position. You don't want to do it. And in the meantime, with TenZ showing that presence, we are seeing a contact through, and TenZ will get the frag eventually. He will not be denied. Vikings in for some trouble. It could be decent paint shots. You can see Dapper just barely escapes that one. It does delay the spike plant for the time being. Buys some extra time for the rotation. Oh, the shock dart missing there. I think again, in fact.
Yeah.
That's so unfortunate. And they have nothing left here, Fancilly. They've been completely annihilated for yet another Prime Gaming flawless.
The idea was there. I think maybe losing FRZ early like that was a detriment for sure, especially when you're playing a Jet that you could try to dash away if TenZ is trying to shoot at you. But the way that they threw the recon dart just to combine it with the paint shells to deny the plant was huge, because off that, you're even able to throw the Sancho charges onto the wall from GTN, potentially break that wall. But again, because you've lost a player so early, it just makes it harder. as an anchor player inside the site that you've lost, much more difficult for the retake, and Sentinels just took advantage of that one for sure. And now they're forcing VKS, the Vikings, on an eco, and VKS are looking for the timeout to figure out what to do, potentially into further rounds, right? You have a showstopper at this point. Do you want to try to fight for orbs too for Sadak so he could have a Killjoy ult into the next round should they not win this eco round, and try to figure out what to do? And it looks to be a hero buy so far for GTN.
Yeah, and interestingly, I think, was it from Masters when we had that statistic showing that hero buys had like a 38% win rate or something like that.
Yeah.
Like significantly higher than just, a Sheriff save round, for example. I think that was from Masters 1. And we'll see if there can be any success here from Vikings with this hero buy. I'm definitely a big fan of it. I think in CSGO it became, much more popular in the recent years.
Yeah. And I feel like it's definitely more doable in this game right now for Valorant. So to be able to have that on top of that, the showstopper. So as you're shooting away and they're trying to run away from the showstopper from Sentinels, and you now have gain map control and switch over to a Vandal to try to capitalize on an entry with that too, it could be very beneficial right now for Vikings on how they want to run this. And coming off this timeout, we're about to resume here, round number 17. It seems as though right now for Vikings, it's sticking things up towards the A side and potentially just going for the aim battle from the boxes of 410 into A belt.
And it makes sense, Sentinels have shown presence here in many rounds, and we've got the same approaches. Shazam's the most forward player because he has a dash, but can't dash away from that one. Great shot, and that's the opening kill. Sentinels know that they've been peak sticking players there on the defaults and on the anti-eco, that it's Shazam. He's the dash, he can be safer than his teammates. And Vikings knew it too, and they actually found the kill this time around. So with that and with the Blaze Storm, this gets scary.
Definitely a nice little variation of finding the A orb. We talked about Sentinels on the attacker side before, defender side, sorry, before. It was Zombs ulting with the Viper's Pit and then Shazam picking up the orb. This time, it's FRZ moving forward with GTN with the rifle so that potentially if GTN dies, you could trade, pick up the orb, and then you'll still be on your Blade Storm. So I like that. He landed that kill into Shazam, picked up the orb, and now it's winnable.
And Ten's managing to snipe one in the middle though, so that's going to even up the numbers. And it's triggering a rotation here as well towards this B side of the map. Throwing in some last bits of utility there, Dapper onto A, maybe to keep the rotation at bay from the defenders of Vikings. But we'll see that I'm sure that they will hear the Leer there. They do have Sudicast in position. He's going to play into the smoke here. This is a risky maneuver, but will it pay off? No, it doesn't. Tens will take him down, and the spike will go down onto the B site. GTN, there it is. There's the dance you were talking about. That showstopper's available still as well. This is scary stuff here for Vikings trying to press forwards through the toxic screen. There's the first battle. Six going to win it. Huge. The Zombs with the lineups ready to go. Sassy. Oh no! Both players running out of bullets. And it's going to be Sentinels that get the better of that one. 12-5 as they are yet to drop a round in this half.
I like the idea, at least, of playing inside the smoke. It's definitely a risky, way more risky. I think he had a Sheriff right now inside that smoke at the same time too, Dan. So if he did have a Classic or a Frenzy, maybe doable, but also when you have to face off against Tens inside that smoke, with the way that he's playing and the way that he warms up, it's going to be very difficult to try to win that upper hand. And aside from that, yeah, a little bit awkward in the end, but you're happy that you still have a sidearm versus Sassi, who had nothing left after losing all those shots. So now it's map point potentially here for, or should I say the first map potentially in the bag for Sentinels as they're leading by 7. And with Vikings looking still for some sort of solution, is looking to be an early kill actually towards this mid side. Dan off camera, a peek down towards mid, and that surprised Zombs.
Yeah, Sadiki, super brave, going down all the way down mid there to find that one. An unusual move. I don't think that move has yet come in, which is why it likely took Sentinels off guard. And Sentinels now, they're just going to collapse on this A site, looking to contact through. Information there with the reveal. So that's 2 players that they've spotted. That tells them enough, I think, at this point.
Yeah.
Kill on the dash. Tens goes down. That's one of the entries just gone. Oh dear. It's looking a bit scary now for Sentinels. 3v5. Don't really have position. But they have to commit to this. They don't have time to go to B. So it's all in on this A site. And FRZ is here waiting at 410. Great repositioning. Such a great round so far from FRZ. Will finally go down, but it's done a great deal of damage. Shazam switching out for the Vandal, seeing what he can get done here. 15 seconds to go. Revealed, and it's very difficult, isn't it? Fantastic shot again. Trying to bait out another play. He can actually get a spike plant here. He's on for the clutch. He's going to hit him closing the distance. He comes out before he gets the spike planted, and the paranoia comes through. Sadiki with the finishing shot onto Shazam. And it's 1 round. It's the first round for Vikings in this half. They need to get a lot more.
Oh yeah, but definitely a valiant attempt there for Shazam. At that point for Sentinels, losing a player like Zom so early, I'm okay if you lose Tens or Shazam at that point, but when you lose a Viper that could pull up these walls, that could try to force the rotations, that could play mind games with your opponents, with having that agent down, Vikings playing that numbers advantage, they never rotated. They played the right numbers. They didn't over-rotate at the same time, too. They already had a 3-player stack towards that A side, and the same utility that you see from Killjoy on this minimap was placed on the same way for Sadak. So they played that perfectly on their end, played that patiently, too. But it could have turned it over for how Shazam has been on fire with the knives to start things off and potentially with that clutch. But Vikings, they stay alive. They're trying to hold back this B side as you're fighting for this orb, and Shazam getting the opener. And he's going to say, look, I didn't clutch before, but I'm definitely going to help my team win this map. They also picked up the Hunter's Fury, and this is going to be tough now for Vikings.
Yeah, great kill there from Sadiki. He's got the lockdown too, so could cause a lot of problems here. Hunter's Fury comes through as well from Sassy. Oh, gets 2 on the tag, and is able to finish off both players as well. That's a great lineup. And now it's down to 2 here for Sentinels. Sick and Shazam. Oh god, it's looking very difficult. Sadaki's just holding that defuse for days right now. I don't think there's any way they can stop this. Indeed, they swing, it's desperate, and Vikings pick up another round. So they're not done just yet. And you can see the change from Sentinels there, Vansley. They decided to just really mix it up because they've been defaulting so much. You know, and it was good for a pick, actually. Shazam actually managed to find a pick.
Yep.
And they just collapsed onto the B side. So it looked really good initially until that happened.
Very, very difficult too when you definitely have to try to dodge a Hunter's Fury from one of the best Hunter's Furier, if I could put it that way, from Sussy in the game. So getting a double onto that one definitely gave that confidence for Vikings to just stick that spike at the same time too. But that means more ultimates available into this round. Aggressive push coming in from Sadak again, but it gets immediately traded out. They still have a res, so they could get the res with the Shazam. He could still bring out the Blade Storm, and they're going to still be at a 1-player advantage for Sentinels.
This could be a great response from Sassy, though. Going aggressive in A main. They've got these deep positions. Oh, just caught before the satchel can be utilized there. FRZ going to whip that one, but
no way.
Cast is good for him. The aggression from multiple sides from Vikings catches Sentinels off balance. But it is not done just yet. A minute to go, and we're in this 2v2. We've got the play being made by Dapper onto the B site, and Sick is able to get a lot of information in this position.
Yeah, he's going to hear the footsteps. He could bait it out. He's going to let Dapper know at the same time. And if Dapper fails, well, you have a Hunter's Fury available. There's 6 in a great spot.
The timing is perfect for Sick as well. That surely seals the deal here as FRC's in such a bad spot. No help to work with. Very troublesome indeed. Goes through, I respect it. And that's going to be it. Sick is going to close it down for Sentinels. Map 1 in the bag. The Brazilians put up a hell of a fight though. That really looks very competitive. They were struggling on that second half, but it really felt like a super competitive game, and I'm really excited to see which way the series is going to go after that.
I do agree with you, Dan. Looking at how they played, their attacker side for Vikings looked very promising. A little bit flat-footed, though, on the defender side, too. Again, not having that utility to be able to play for those retakes of how Sentinels were playing before, but I like how they actually adapted to not having that type of utility. That push that they had towards that A main, not only for one player, but you expect two players from pushing into A main while they're also crunching on the top of the boiler side. This is something new. This is something unorthodox. This is something that you don't see very often in North America, so it definitely potentially caught Sentinels off guard. But when, again, you look at the Sentinels, what they have on paper, they have so many players that have clutch potential, and so many players that just off the back of one single player, either it's Sick, Tens, Shazam, Dapper, or Zoms, they could still get the multi-kills and bring the round back in their favor. And that's what happened, and we do have the first map now in favor of Sentinels.
Yeah, definitely a great game to start things off with between these two teams. And I love the point that you brought up there about, you know, what they did when they were down to 4 players, Vikings, because it's so cool to see the communication and the teamwork to make a situation like that happen. Just yeah. It's got to be a call. You've got to be able to play outside of a structure. You have to be able to adapt to the situation. And for them to show that they are, you know, thinking like that, I think bodes very well for their chances to maybe make this a 3-mapper. Again, Sentinels the team to beat right now in this tournament, but Vikings are looking good.
The only thing right now is that Icebox was the map here picked by Vikings, if not mistaken, because we're going into the second map, which is going to be Haven. And Haven, if I'm not mistaken as well, Vikings have brought in an Astra a little bit more into their composition in their region. It works pretty well, but it works well in their region. How is this going to fare against Sentinels right now, who have been dominant so far on Haven in North America and also now on the world stage? So that is going to be my biggest question mark here for Vikings. They got the one map out of the way, maybe not in their favor, but I think they still have a very tough task ahead in the second map on Haven.
They definitely do, and it's time for them to go and regroup. You know, we're going to be headed for a quick break, but when we come back, the analysts will be with you, breaking down that Sentinels win. Don't go anywhere.
Gotta get away Sentinels take the lead against the Vikings in this best-of-3 series. And Lothar, as we take a look at the Prime Gaming highlights from Map 1, it seems like compositions was the name of the game here.
Yeah, and I really like how both of the teams played their compositions to their strengths and realized what they have to do to win the map. Like, they realized what the win conditions are. For Vikings, on round 2, and I think that was one of the most instrumental rounds in the game, was when they won the pistol, went to attack B side, and they just stopped because they didn't have the utility to support their planter, right? Basically, they wanted to plant, but Tens showed up, killed 3 people with Marshall, and they got punished. And basically, that stopped their efforts of coming to B side. That's why they basically made all the efforts towards A, and this is when Sentinels also changed the way a little bit, the way they played on A. Tens went a little bit forward, went over the pipes a lot of times. Shazam was holding a wide angle towards a lobby, and because they play agents that, you know, they cannot be punished in case they miss, like an example, you know, Jet can dash away, Tens can kill the first guy and then just dismiss. They weren't able to get traded, and I think that was a great showcase of how teams can just use their compositions and their strengths, the utility, to shape the pace of the round. And well, you know, I think just Sentinels had a stronger meta composition that was just better in this case.
Yeah, and you know, Paper Thin, I think it's safe to say, like, you know, Vikings fought back, but it was clear that, you know, as Lothar had noted eloquently there, like the compositions, that was the struggle here. They didn't have the utility that would be necessary to be able to come out on top of this game, and it can come with maybe a little bit of unfamiliarity with some of the agents and also just a comfort level, right, on that stage.
Yeah, I think, to me, I mean, obviously, I think there is a micro difference with the Sentinels, that they're just very talented players mechanically, but also they know how and when to utilize their utility. So when they would go for B-side hits, it's part of this composition like Lothar is talking about here, right? They have the Sage Walls, they have the Viper Toxic Screens, they can cut off B. So the pistol round for them on the attacker side is a pretty easy win because they're able to just lock that side down with all their utility. And anytime they had the Viper's Pit up, it's a B hit, and outside of GTN just popping people through the Viper's Pit randomly, they pretty much would lock those down for free. So just a really nice job by Sentinels. I got to give Vikings a little bit of credit. They were doing a good job dealing with Shazam over on the A side when they were on attacker's side. Vasily, I think, pointed that out very nicely. But other than that, it was just a very well played, well thought out game for the Sentinels.
Yeah, I have to agree with that. And I also want to hop on to giving Vikings a little bit of credit, because you could see that they had the layers right in their game plan. Even in the last round of this game, you saw as soon as Shazam went down, they knew the res was coming. The A push happened. You saw the Jet getting an opportunity. The timings, man, they were just slightly off by minute seconds, right? You saw GT Zen on the raise, busting out the rocket, trying to get an opportunity for himself. But again, the timings just weren't on their side this time around. I'm hoping for a different story on Haven, though, coming up on map 2 here.
Yeah, I'm sure we all are as well. But one player that isn't hoping for a different story and is ensuring that that book is written properly, it's Tens, and he's actually going to be coming through in round 2 with our Verizon high-speed moment here, and he does so with one of my favorite weapons, the Marshall. It was a really clinical showing from him. He did manage to identify a player over by yellow, hits one, that's a whammy, gets another one. So many whammies, it's like I'm Champ Kind, and I'm just gonna keep saying whammy. Look at this, whammy. He's gonna maybe look for another one. Around the corner, whammy. There it is, nailed it, no, whammy. I mean, really, it just writes itself. The man is a human highlight reel. He's a human highlight reel, that's right. Give me the premium gas,
no
baby.
doubt.
Give me the premium gas. I think on that moment, we're just going to go ahead and send it back over to our casters. Let's see if Vikings can turn this thing around. And on the prompter, it says, Dan Silly. So I guess it's a thing. Take it away.
Webby! GV. all right. Dan Silly. What is going to happen right now? What's going to happen? Are we going to go to a third map? Please. Give me the win conditions here for Vikings. I really want to see it. I want to see more from the Brazilians. They look good. They struggled on the attack there, but otherwise it looked pretty good.
Definitely. I think the attacker side, they had to continue what they were doing on Icebox and carry it over here on the map of Haven. And when you're playing against a team like Sentinels for me, for example, though, Dan, you see Zoms, I think he's grown into such a phenomenal player when Astra came in to the lineup. So Zoms, we always talked about him as like, yeah, maybe he's not able to frag as much, but the utility that he has as Omen, how he could shut down positions with the paranoia and the smoke, has always been huge in terms of deniability for Sentinels. Now as Astra, when you have 5 stars, 2 Nebulas, Cosmic Divides, the Gravity Wells, and even the Nova Pulses, there's a lot of deniability where he can anchor on his own. And if you're playing a team as Sentinels and the way that you could play very aggressively, find ways to get through those Gravity Wells, find ways to punish that as well from Zoms, because after that, final bosses is that you're going to have to play against the clutch players of Dapper, the entry fraggers of Sick and Shazam. So I think Zoms is probably the agent to exploit, not the player, but getting rid of Astra out of the lineup early is definitely going to help Vikings win these pulse plant situations on the attack.
Yeah, and here we are with the Prime Gaming Agent Select, and we will be having indeed the Vikings on the attack to begin with, and I'm quite curious to see exactly how they'll approach this. You know, they're definitely a team that likes to go towards, you know, some of those heavier burst kind of style of play, and so that's always a lot of fun. So I think we're going to see a lot of action towards C with the, you know, typical kind of A lobby kind of approach, you know, with the Cypher, but ultimately I think we're going to see a lot of C from them, and this is something that we saw yesterday as well against Sentinels from Fnatic, and Sentinels actually managed that super well, so that's not a good premonition for Vikings and likely the playstyle that we're going to see from them. But let's see if they have something else prepared here as we get into map 2, Vikings versus Sentinels. And Vikings, they have looked pretty damn good, and I think they have what it takes here to take us to a third map. I can't wait to see what they have here on this attack.
I'm definitely hoping for that one, Dan, for sure. And them taking the attack to start things off here, and you see the standard double stars from the defenders of Zoms at the entrance of that A site in the choke. Even the recon dart to find information. It's clear, early rotate right now, and it's looking to be fairly quick inside the garage, and they're adapting already. Look at that, FRC's already up B.
And Sick's able to take down one with such a deep position. Sick is causing a lot of problems here towards spawn. He's just holding his position at this point. He's done so much good work. Nice one from Sudacast to try to make things a little bit easier, but it's still very, very difficult. Sudacast with the frenzy, not the best at that range, but making it work for now. However, Sick and Tens will finish things off. Fantastic round from Sick. I think he got 3 out of it. And Sentinels start off with a bang.
I'm actually liking this. This is a good taste of what we could expect throughout the rest of this map here, Dan, because Icebox, it was a lot of timing we talked about, and we gave credit to Vikings how they were playing more defaulty, slow, trying to force a rotate out here from Sentinels. But in this map, just off this piss around, I could expect, just because of how many angles you have into the C site, how you could get control of Garage and maybe try to split into B, the split into the A site. There could be some very heavy splits going on the aggression from Vikings, but as I say that, it's Sentinels that's bringing that aggression instead.
Yeah, that's a little bit scary. They're really feeling it at the moment, just going for those aggressions, as you say, on the anti-eco, not afraid of anything. Leaving Vikings reeling after that one. They've only got 3 players left, 2 of which
low HP.
Up.
Yep.
And Shazam with a forward position here too on A lobby, so not all that much working here for Vikings. They've got the Sheriff in the hands of Sassy, but also the weakest player on the teams.
Yeah, everything's on lockdown. Because now Zoms could actually body peek, he could use the ability. There you go, there's a gravity well. They're pushing towards the A side. They have a trap wire towards Garage. It just got broken. They have all the information in the world for Sentinels now.
Yeah, Sick is just holding a really safe position. 1 by 1. And Sick will take down Sassy as well. This is a really bad prospect as well, because Sick already has the run it back available. Because of all of the kills he's had in the... I mean, he's got 6 kills, so he's got more than enough kills to get that running back online, and the Prime Gaming Flawless had a lot of those.
And this is where it gets scary, Dan, because yesterday when Sentinels played against Fnatic, we saw a lot of clutch plays. We saw some very close plays, and it came down to the wire from Sentinels to be able to win this map. I think it was 13-11. And something that was quiet in that series was Sick, where we know the combination of him and Tens together could be very strong. Cast him in North America, the combination of the curveball with the op coming out from Tens at the same time could be detrimental for any team that faces against him. But now that he's online already with a run it back in round 3, oof, I'm scared.
Yeah, for sure. It is very scary. So much momentum here for Sick, a player that they would likely also be just farming the ultimate orbs onto anyway.
Yep.
In these defaults. Vikings looking for the best way to attack here, knowing that they're going to be against a heavy bonus. Rotation through to A, spotted by Shazam.
Scanning ahead.
And that's even deniability. The recon's good enough to get information.
Yeah. So to slow things down, you can see that this is forced a rotation on the minimap. And we're actually getting Vikings pulling out, but they might reset back in. The thing is that they don't have much time here to mess around at this point.
30 seconds left.
And Sentinels, 4 players for C, so they're somewhat convinced that this will be a C play. Dapper with the cam. He's going to spot it. Here comes the play. Dapper's going to go straight in front of it. He's going to just force them to fight in this choke point. It's not a good look. There is not much time on the clock here to get the spike planted. In fact, they might go for a 4-man save.
Yeah.
In fact, that's exactly what's happening. Oh my. It would actually be awesome if Sudicast could get some frags. Soliki instead will be the one to get a frag. Ooh, don't give up any kills. Oh. Okay, there we go. So,
hey, yeah, you're right. It's a bonus round, right, for Sentinels, Dan, so I get it. It's like, it's so close, just don't die at this point. You sacrificed enough. And even then, even if you don't sacrifice kills, don't get damaged by the long-range chip damage that you can get from the Spectres, because now, if you're going to force to buy armor, just like we see right now from FRZ, then you're going to be low on money no matter what into the next round, right? Because you're forcing the full buy. That said, though, for Sentinels, you could see how annoying it could be playing against an Astra. You're trying to run a last-second play into the C site. They didn't even need to come into contact at first. A camera to spot things up, a second camera to come back up here from Dapper, and then you have the gravity well, and nobody's able to come in for a plant. This time, though, just trying to play aggressive into the B site. We're trying to get an early plant for Vikings.
Sick there with the curveballs, just like so much good defensive utility coming through, and Tense there with the push from the back as well. Sick is closing distance with these attackers, and he's doing so much damage. They're pinned in the corner. There's nowhere to go. Just Sudicast left now. Coming from spawn, 1v3. Spike down in no man's land. Oh, almost spammed down completely. And they know exactly where Sudicast is. And there we go. Shazam will take him down. And going faster didn't work here for Vikings. I liked the idea. Barreling into the B site, but Sentinels are quite ready for that. You know, just the point you were making with the utility from Astra and so on. It's very good at helping with these very fast plays. Oh my god,
shock darts.
That's beautiful. I'd love to see that.
Geometry from Shazam coming in here with the shock darts for double damage too on top of that, and he comes out a window for the kill. But I gotta say, it brings me back, Dan, to the days where Sentinel Shazam came in from an interview. It's like, hey, if North American teams want to play aggressive against us, we could do the same thing. And they're doing exactly the same type of play style that Vikings or any Brazilian team would do currently, is just bring the fight to them. And even on the Fender side, pushing aggressively for map control is definitely a detriment right now for Vikings, because now they're forced to play default, they're forced to play slow, they're forced to play spread off across the map, where even a 2 versus 1 push, it's an even trade, and it's still a victory for Sentinels because you want to take those on your side on defenders.
Down a player already. Snodiki sits on the bench watching over his team as they try to take some garage control, and a reload was heard. 6 reload. There's the curveball though. That's going to confirm some information. Shazam's walked out mid as well. I don't know that they would expect that. Ooh, 6 going to get challenged. Trying to escape, actually. I think he was not exactly sure where he was going, but Shazam is going to be able to get a huge timing on this flank. Dapper, the master of delay, in the site. Shazam's going to isolate the garage players.
Seconds left.
And now Dapper spotted the remaining two in C long, and it doesn't seem like they can really combine their forces whatsoever. Everybody's picked apart in this round for Vikings. They just can't quite seem to find their footing, Vansili. Like, they can't play their game.
Yeah, the only thing that worked pretty much at the beginning of that round was kind of like a 6 versus 4, because when Sick Gut actually blinded and tried to fall back, I think he jumped into Zom's gravity well. So I kind of sucked him out of position for him to get picked off there by GTN, sorry. And yes, like you said here, Dan, nothing seems to be working because they're losing a lot of map control on mid side. Yes, they're gaining garage, but they're losing then again from B side pushes down to under window. And they need a little bit more coming out of that, I think, from Sadak, where maybe he could start throwing those cameras up towards the grass side, towards the B entrance, just to try to prevent these pushes, or at least getting that information.
Oh my god, it's a huge Hunter's Fury from Shazam. Oh, that's absolutely huge, taking down 2 players at the beginning of the rounds. Ooh. It's hard to watch.
Desperation right now here,
yeah.
Dan.
It's
you got a question mark right now, right? Or question marks are above your head, just trying to figure out what answer can we actually bring here against Sentinels. Now, not only do they have to think about like map control and all that too, but also now utility ultimates that are available for Sentinels that they had to be wary of on these aggressive pushes.
Yeah, it's kind of like we talked about before with regards to how Fnatic, sort of struggled to make their attacking side work. It was the C splits that worked out for Fnatic, but we'll get back into that in a moment as we have Sentinels here defending the B side and able to get so many kills through smokes here as well. Such a good read of the situation from Sentinels. Sadiki left in a terrible spot.
30 seconds left.
Ooh, Dapper, the master of the jiggle. And GTN will go down for the Prime Gaming Flawless, and yeah, it seems like, so it's the similar issues as to what Fnatic had with Sentinels, whereby they couldn't really win a lobby against Shazam and or Tens.
Yeah.
And then at the same time, like, we had such good retakes on the C site if the C splits actually won the C site. But even then, sometimes just winning garage control was very difficult. And the retakes that Sentinels had into the B site when the attackers were going for the B side option was also very good. So it doesn't really seem like there is a clear weakness. It seems to be more the case that you have to have very good tactics and coordination around some of these positions, garage, A lobby, to be able to just legit win those spots from the likes of Tens of Shazam and Sick and so on. You have to have that in your playbook.
Agreed. And even when you're looking at this now, GTN going for potentially another Hero Blood, but definitely a lot weaker. And I feel like if it's not this round, potentially the next round, Vikings has a lot of chances to get the first point on the board, simply due to the fact of the amount of ultimates they currently have. This is why I'm debating if this timeout is going to be a debate to see, hey, should we actually go for some sort of a buy? How can we use our ultimates right now and capitalize on currently where Sentinels are currently being placed? Because Zoms doesn't have a Cosmic Divide for a retake. Tens also is one away from Bladestorm. This is like a small window of opportunity for them to maybe capitalize on their own ultimates, get that first point on the board, and if they do have some sort of force buy coming in, then they add 3,000 credits into their victory to even add more into the bank later on. But it seems as though it's just going to be, okay, we have a shot. Yeah, they're going for the force buy, so let's see what happens.
We will see indeed. It is interesting too because in terms of like how good Sentinels are and how well-rounded they are, I do feel like Vikings did show one successful round previously. We'll get back into that in a moment, as we'll see what the opener looks like for them with this
off control probably. They want to fight for A control and potentially just ult everything into the A site.
Yeah, so many ultimates indeed. Sentinels can play retake very effectively. Soms and Thames both won away from their ultimates respectively. Vikings trying to also, I like that they're playing this slower, making sure that, were Sentinels to try to run a play for information, in the early to mid round that they would be able to catch it, Vikings. Pressuring Garage here, so might start to convince Sentinels that this is going to start to feel like a C play once the Garage pressure comes through. And that's a pick on an A-long, so maybe scratch that entirely because they will go off of the back of that one. TenZ, though, is holding the site still. So this is a problem. And the Neural Theft comes through to gain more information. And the spike's down, and they have the site Sentinels. They are still sitting on this one. And it doesn't look like they're able to stop TenZ. He's going to own absolutely everybody that tries to walk into this site. Oof, unfortunate there. Just Sudicast left, and there's no time for this one.
Yeah, only with a Sheriff in armor, I mean, you want to try to go for it, you know. You've invested enough. Bringing that on to the next round is not going to do much. And I'm actually quite surprised here, Dan, because that was a perfect entry at a first blood, actually, to take Shazam down. They threw the Neural Theft to get information, and that's FRZ getting into the site without popping the run it back. And I guess it was the off angle there from TenZ. You're probably going to try to throw it from the pop the run it back from the corner of the sewers. But unfortunately, just TenZ gets the upper hand, just spoils every single plan that Vikings had off that first blood kill. So very well done here for Sentinels to maintain their composure. They're up 7-0.
Yeah, and this time we're going to see TenZ actually working along also with Shazam. Oh, the flash comes through, caught out in the open.
Huge.
Great conversion there from Vikings, looking to send some of that action straight through to long. Don't have to commit to anything here. They have a lot of time. You can see Shazam, he wants to know, are they doubling back off of this or are they grouping up around this? And they will try to hide from the drone, and beautifully done. Only showing GTN there taking down the drone. And just look at the mini-map. Look what this is doing to Sentinels.
Yeah, I mean, they're still guessing so far. They're starting to jiggle peek to try to get a bit of information at the same time, too, because they are one player behind. And this forces the hand of Dapper trying to push forward, and they're trying to push down towards long, too, and it works out. 6 gets the headshot, and it's tied up 4-4.
And there comes the drone here from Vikings. Sentinels will be able to slow things down. Sick is doing a great job at slowing things down. He kept hold of a curveball as well to have that additional delay possible. Vikings looking to force the action. Sitting in the cage now, Sick. Waiting for his next chance. There goes the flash. Forward delay. Still holding on to position. Holding on to time. Sentinels have that rotation in. It's going to be a hell of a fight here. The Vikings, they're going to pop it through the showstopper. GTN is going to get traded out, though. And Sadiki and Sudicast doing a great job in converting all of these frags. The spike will be planted. Dapper in a 1 versus 3 as he makes his way through spawn. It is a hell of a job to find an opening here. Something has to be given. Gets tagged, and that's the frag. Great stuff there. What a round from Vikings.
That was so close. See, if only he knew the information of where the third player was there for Dapper, right? But definitely a great round for Vikings. Getting that first blood, killing Noise, and trying to figure things out more slowly. Yes, they got caught off guard from the curveball that came out from Sick. But even despite that, they kept their cool. They kept lurking up towards the A side, and opening with that showstopper allowed for Vikings to get into the site. So that was very much needed. We have, ironically enough, the Brazil scoreline now 7-1 for Sentinels, but that was a round that they won with confidence here for the Vikings, and they could definitely run off this. Maybe not. TenZ denies it right away with 2 op kills onto FRZ SSA.
That's the problem for sure, and you just don't want to see that. TenZ doing such a good job holding onto that position. He is so dangerous. He wants those peaks, and Sudicast actually able to jump over the trip here into the C site. Now, it feels like everything really leans on what he's able to accomplish from this. Dapper's going to just tag him with the camera. At least Sudicast is able to kill the cam, but Dapper knows what's going on here, and he's going to try to hold on to the backside position. With the Odin, it's not going to work out. And with that, there is a chance here. Sick's going to go through. The Cosmic Divide's in. Sick over the top of Lock. It will take down GTN. And that's now the spike carrier killed. Sick is doing all kinds of shenanigans here on the site. And with that, this is a lot of Cosmic Divide.
Yep.
With that, the fight is it's going to be tough to get this planted. It's a 1v3 for Sadiki.
I'm surprised that they gave this up because I guess they didn't see that the spike was actually down. So everybody falls back to like default spots. but they could still play a retake on a 3v1. This is going to be still very difficult for Sadak to win.
Yeah, I think Sentinels must have assumed that he picked up the spike already.
Yeah.
But there we go. Zoms at the back of the site is going to just create an impossible situation for Sadaki. Well played by Sentinels once again, and they'll convert the rounds. One of the points I was going to make earlier is that, you know, this is a huge issue. You know, TenZ having free reign here, doing a great job hitting those shots, and you want to see them find a way to deal with TenZ to take a lobby control, because when they were able to do that, they were able to play. Vikings were able to play with the Sentinels rotations. They just did it a little bit too slowly. In one of those rounds, they got beaten out because they didn't have enough time. But I felt like they were really onto something.
I agree. I feel like they have a good composition to do that as well, although we'll talk about it later because we're looking for a split from Vikings inside the C site then.
Yeah, it's certainly, and Sassy is able to open up with the Hunter's Fury, so starts off pretty well here. Six still has that running back ready for the retake, and there we go. Running back comes through. Ooh, okay. Oh, Sadaki's just going to walk straight into him. They get taken down by the pace. Okay. TenZ has the blades out. FRC with the lineup. Coming through from window. Doing the damage. And now Shazam, he's got nobody left to support him. He's alone in this retake. 4 players to find. They know precisely where he is. Swing comes through. Sudicast does not care. Just takes him out. 1v1. And Vikings convert the round.
And so it's one of those examples, just like on Icebox, when there's just so much utility going on here for both of these teams that it just becomes so messy to try to take the play, take the site, or even retake here for either of these teams. Thankfully, Vikings took the upper hand. But just to get back as we have time here, Dan, I feel that the composition for Vikings, they do have a good comp to try to push back TenZ on such aggressive peaks here on the A side. They got JTN with the Boombot or Paint Shells. They could curveball outside of A long. They could shock dart or recon dart towards long A as well to push him back. And then that will force Sentinels to surrender the A site. The thing is, if they use that much, then they don't have too much to take the site over, and TenZ continues to go to work.
Yeah, he does. 2 kills on the board already before they've even gotten to the site. And, it just doesn't stop here. Sentinels, another Prime Gaming flawless for them. It's been so many in this half. Again, it just seems so difficult for Vikings to win the information battle. And on some of the individual plays, TenZ has free reign. How many times are we seeing TenZ get the fights that he wants?
Yeah. Very, very often right now in these battles towards long A den. And at the same time, it's, again, a lack of utility, unfortunately, that for these battle for control towards A side. Yes, they're able to avoid the recon dart that gets thrown into the choke point. But outside of that, where's the curveball to come out to continue to take control of A long, or the owl drone to continue to push them back? And Shazam, you just saw in that replay, he puts his hands up. He's like, what's going on here? It's a little bit too easy for me right now to hold up the A side. So it feels like a reverse of how they were playing Icebox, where I'm like, okay, well, they don't have that much utility to try to push Shazam back, and they play that perfectly for Vikings. Now it's lackluster for their attack, unfortunately, here against Sentinels on this map of Haven. Double up, by the way, Dan.
And why not? It's definitely going to be a surprise because it frees up TenZ to roam here. He's on that top of the C site with his operator. Vikings in a desperately bad position overall so far in this half. Looking to contact through to the B sites. Might actually be great here. Retaking with the operators might be difficult. Flash comes through, Dapper. Looking to go for the challenges here. Has that Astra Smoke to work from. Neural Theft out as well to get the extra information in. They've been gifted. The spike is on the site there for Sentinels just to sit on top of. It's under their control, locked away by the Astra Smoke, locked away by the entire team at this point. Oh man, this is not a good look here for Vikings. They are well and truly on the struggle bus. Oh no, no, don't do it, Dapper, no! Oh, the humanity. Dapper denied, thank goodness.
Dapper bringing a North American flair onto the global stage here, Dan, just showing how when they're comfortable, or when they're just falling behind, or when they don't care. That's the type of Sentinels that you can see sometimes, and it shows a little bit. Like at the same time as it's fun in games, it also shows and it adds a little bit more onto Vikings. It's like, oh crap, these guys are like on fire. They're super confident. What can we do right now to try to regain control of this map? And so far, like I said, I feel it's a lack of utility that's currently being used by Vikings, but toe-to-toe, when they're able to avoid the operator of tens and try to fight a little bit more out of like bring this 1v1 fights, they've had good flanks actually at the same time too, from garage side when they're splitting MTC. So there are some weaknesses into how Sentinels were setting up. I just find that they weren't able to get that information to capitalize on these type of weaknesses that could have been exploited.
Yeah, definitely. It does feel like Sentinels are just chilling right now. They're not having to really do anything special. They're really in their comfort zone, as you mentioned. The fact that they're able to bring out the double operator is just goes to show that that they're feeling super comfortable. It's also a gear they didn't really have to go to as well. They made it work otherwise. But into the second half, we've got a pistol upon us. Vikings on the defense. Sentinels not with any quick maneuvers though. It's a lurk on A long from Dapper, looking to just contact in. He's just going to see what he can get, it looks like, at this point. Spots one. Oh, he's actually forced out the paint shells. That's a big win.
And Boobot. The thing is right now, Dan, though, is this is something that Dapper does a lot, right? Put the camera up, work that A-side choke, something that Fnatic didn't take advantage of too. But look at Vikings. They never really rotated players out after using the initial utility from Raze. They still have great utility and positioning for any type of push happening towards this C-side that seems to be happening.
Yeah, now Sentinels have that garage control, working towards the C splits, and there's actually a good amount of players here for Vikings trying to hold on to the backside. 10, so up high, able to look over all of these smokes with that Ghost doing damage. 3 players, 2 players now left here. It's looking grim for Vikings as they fight tooth and nail, but it's not looking all that good. GTN is the last of it here for Vikings. Frenzy outs 10s from the side. And that's a wrap. 11-2, Vikings. Really struggling here against Sentinels.
Yeah, when I look back at how that pistol played, it seems... I'm not sure if we saw that recon dart coming out earlier on towards the A side into choke, but trying to figure out how many bodies are currently working towards that A side, I think just a recon dart could have maybe avoided the paint shells and the boom bot that was forced out from GTN. And that was just off Dapper walking up into the A site. So lack of information one more time. Here's the recon dart that's going to come this time too. And on top of that, a tactical timeout for Sentinels. I'm liking this. I'm liking this also from the point of view of Vikings. Because if they ran out of timeouts currently playing into this map versus Sentinels, this gives them more time to figure out how they want to play this. And you could see, right off the bat, right off the rip, they went for a Bulldog buy and a Stinger buy, as well as shields and shares. So they were ready to play for the victory so far, Dan. So allowing this extra minute, they could regain their composure and really try to figure out how they can actually punish Sentinels on their attacker side. But the only information that they got was barely nothing, unfortunately, based off that pistol.
Yeah, it's definitely a tough world for Vikings to be living in at the moment. I think one of the difficult aspects to it as well is that, Sentinels is such a strong team individually that you also have to be able to compete there first before we can talk about the tactical and strategical game. And I'm hoping for Vikings that they're going to have an easier time of it here on this defense, because there's less, like, they don't have to worry about working the map as much. It's you don't have to worry about defaulting as much, trying to play the rotation game. It's more about reacting and then using the information you get from how Sentinels are playing their attack to understand the kinds of responses that you need to make. It's definitely a little bit more simplistic.
Definitely. I find that with the plays or the agent composition here like Sentinels currently has. Like somebody like Sick as this Phoenix is going to take a lot of this mid control at the same time too. And where FRZ is looking to contest it, at the beginning, but he couldn't capitalize on a kill. So far so good to try to bring that aggression out for Vikings and gain that information, forcing out the Owl drone at the same time for Shazam. But here comes an open B site, at least for Sick to force out a rotation, and Sadak's on his own.
And nice work with the Stinger too. Repping the Stinger, love to see it. But yeah, as you mentioned, Sick in that position is definitely a problem in B. He hits a good timing on the lurk. He might catch FRZ. The timing could be brutal, but actually, FRZ gets a few free shots, unable to connect them. Sick in B, causing problems. Still will try to get out of that spot to help his teammates on the side. Dapper's incredibly low. And Shazam is on the side here with the Bulldog. He is really, I mean, I feel like that he is the Bulldog player, Shazam. See what he can get with it on the ADS. It's just down to him now, and he's going to clutch it. Beautiful. Shazam with the Bulldog. That is a wonderful combination, and that's going to be game point.
Yeah. Even if the banner didn't come out, that was definitely a Red Bull clutch because it looked pretty good for Vikings to gain the momentum back towards that pulse plant because you mentioned it, Dan, a great position that was going to be a nuisance right now for Vikings of where Sick was currently placed inside that C link. So for them to swing out to get those kills, to make it a 2 versus 2, and potentially even there a 2 versus 1, you're happy here that Shazam is definitely on point with that Bulldog to be able to win that in the end for Sentinels. Even though it's a 12-2 scoreline, even if it was an 11-3, you don't want Vikings, you don't want them to gain that momentum anywhere in the second half, and you just want to close out the series now. So map point, series point, a bye coming in for both teams, but definitely a lower bye now for the defenders of Vikings. Actually, it's pretty even.
Yeah, we're pretty far away from any ults as well, so
yeah,
that's not going to come into play to take sites or to retake sites. Sentinels just creating presence across the map, looking for any possible flanking actions from C Long and making sure they have a good understanding if anyone's pushing Garage, and at the same time they're taking control here, meeting GTN. Sick, winning that battle. And they're going to fall back. And this is so awful. Imagine being on the receiving end of this. You're afraid of the A hit, but at the same time they could be anywhere. They reset.
FRZ has to come up huge right now, especially now that he's pinged in. This is going to be very difficult. I think he's going to have to play this passively and wait for his teammates to come back.
Ooh, good timing though, found with the Stinger from Sadaki. That's going to even things up into a 4v4. Shazam though, with that ADS on the Bulldog, is always good for it. FRZ still causing some issues there on the B sites. And here comes that flank. If there's distraction here for Sudicast to work off of, might be able to get 2 free ones. Knows what the second player is. Priest up there from Sudicast. Gets the dink onto Dapper. 20 health left. Finished off. Vikings. Great discipline on that one. Great patience. And they will be rewarded. They'll stay in this. But my God, looking at the journey ahead of them, it's a scary one.
But we talked that out before, maybe not on a different half. There was some weaknesses here on Sentinels on how they were playing the defense, but this time you were able to exploit one when Sentinels were playing on the attack. So very nice here for Vikings to not be afraid of the lurk that Dapper always plays with the camera down towards that A choke. So for Sutikaz to be able to come out and get that flank, even getting a dink onto the third player, phenomenal job for Sutikaz at the same time too. It was a much needed round, a round that they won with only 2 players alive, so technically the bye should still be okay right now for Vikings, especially when Sentinels are going to be on an eco.
Uh-oh. Sudicast is going to go down for free, and that's, I mean, he does 22 damage. Well, Fusol's down to 22 health, and Sassy's going to be able to finish that one off. But this is definitely an issue here. Sentinel straight into the Hunter's Fury going forward as well. Tens with that Blaze Storm, good for the entry. And there's just 2 players left here for Vikings. This pace from Sentinels has been devastating. At least Sadaki is going to be able to get something here. FRZ with the run it back. Can there be a trade off of that? No. Tens with the jumping knives. And FRZ not in a position to do a lot here. Plans to eliminate some positions. Actually,
nice.
Gets it. Zom's just stuck in that position, very low on HP. And with that said, now, oh my God, there's a chance here. FRZ against Shazam. Now he knows exactly where he is. Shazam with the peaks. Can he find a shot here? There goes the hot hands. Oh, he falls forward. Great stuff there from FRZ. The clutch is going to be coming through surely. There is just about enough time here for this defuse. Amazing stuff for the Red Bull clutch. FRZ keeping his team alive in this one. I did not expect them to be able to actually pull this one back.
That's when you're actually overextending, when you're that confident, it can come back and bite you. Not necessary for TenZ to jump up and to go for the peak. Everything prior to that, in terms of Sentinels getting into the site, has been superb. The gravity well onto the frenzy kill that he got into sewers to punish Sutikaz, going in with the Blade Storm combined with the Recon Dart and also the Hunter's Fury. But the Pulse Plant retake from FRZ, thankfully that they did a lot of damage onto Sentinels on that Pulse Plant, allows them to win that 3 versus 1. Just again, on an overextension from TenZ on that 2 versus 1 that allows Vikings to stay alive.
FLC with nerves of steel, but Sentinels going really fast into the C site right now. And once again, TenZ on that high ground on the Radionite boxes. And it's looking a lot better here. Vikings still have the backside control. Zom's going to try to push the issue. Goes down. And there's no presence here now for Sentinels backside. They may have to give this one up, but I don't think they can afford to. The spike is down in a forward position. Sentinels are committed to this C site.
They just want to try to finish this right now, Dan, which is why they went so aggressively. But Sick does get the first kill. It's traded off, and on his 3-on-3, cornered is Sick, staying alive from the molly. And let's see if they can actually clutch it out.
Oh god, this is so awkward here for Vikings, but they make it work! Another round for the Brazilians as they fight to keep themselves alive in this one. I mean, you have to have nerves of steel for this.
And on this stage, thankfully, at least the pressure is not that far up now for Vikings because we're still in the upper bracket, right? So there's not that much pressure, but there's still the pressure to perform. Really wanted to perform well here for Vikings against Sentinels. This second map, getting 3 rounds in a row. You're building that confidence up, potentially for 4 in a row now, because you do have a smaller buy here for the attacker side, but you do have, once again, the Marshal of TenZ. Gotta be careful for that one, as Sentinels are looking to push aggressively again, this time towards the A site.
Yeah, and they did this previously. You know, we had that FRZ clutch to save the day, but this previously worked quite well for Sentinels, but they're not quite as fast as before. They're not getting that opening kill that was offered up at the beginning of the round last time. Sudicast playing close around the Astra smoke. This feels quite scary indeed. TenZ on that Marshal.
You are divided.
There goes the Cosmic Divide. And Sick is going to open things up, takes down Sudicast as he starts to barrel up. And there's the showstopper, able to dodge that one. TenZ is still alive. The taps, the 2-bullet dance, as you called it, comes through here for Vikings. And they are holding onto the site. Magnificent stuff there. In fact, they survived with 3 players. A great result. Looks kind of scary for a moment, but they're still in this one.
And slowly but surely, the ultimate points are also building up here, Dan. Yes, the money comes back for Sentinels into this round off this half buy, but you're definitely happy right now for the defender side that you only lost 2 players, because now it gives you that confidence of, yes, we can finally go toe-to-toe here against Sentinels. Trying to peek out against us, like you said, Dan, be more reactionary. They reacted a lot towards that A side on Sentinels, try to move in. They play the off angles, and they're able to win those fights. Continue in that fashion right now for Vikings. If Sentinels continues to overextend like this, we could definitely have a closer game. But now you have a run it back here from Sick, and he's been devastating in the past with that ultimate on this map.
Oh, what a start here coming from Vikings. The aggression from them right now. They're going is absolutely wild with this. Sick looking to answer back into Garage. Soliki with the Odin, trying to spam it. Forwards. Sick with the entry, though. He's got to run it back available now as well. On the side, causing problems. There goes the curveball. Straight through to try to punish these players towards spawn, as Sick keeps himself going on that warpath. And Sentinels get the spike down. This was looking really good for Vikings at one point. Goes Shazam, gets a freebie. He's going to be able to reposition as well. Just so many issues. Oh, no. Very unfortunate for Vikings, but that's going to be a wrap in this series. Sentinels are going to clinch it. 13-6, not quite as competitive as the first map, Icebox, but still, overall, I think a good showing from Vikings. Sentinels are still the team to beat in this upper bracket.
Definitely. I gotta give my my congratulations as well for sure, despite Vikings losing this series of... It's not over for them yet, right? And we saw it. Look how happy they are. And that's what I was going to talk about too. Sutekaz giving the surf. Everything's cool, dude. Don't worry about it. We'll be back tomorrow, you know? Don't worry about it, dude. But at the same time, Sassi, in his interview, he's just so jolly. He's so nice. Losing, winning, it doesn't matter. They're learning from this so far. And after learning how Sentinels play, such an aggressive play style on the defense, and bring that flavor back to Brazil, who they should have that aggressive play style coin of their region, I think they're coming back in full force tomorrow. Vikings definitely got a lot of experience from this game.
Yeah, I agree. I think it is so vitally important. I think you raised such a good point there with that. You know, again, they still have more games to play. They've learned a lot from this matchup, and they're probably going to feel like, hang on, there was a lot of opportunities that we actually had in this game to really push Sentinels to the limit here if we change